She was 14 years old when he bought her, 19 when they hanged her. In between, she endured 5 years of abuse that the law not only permitted, but protected. What she did on one June night in 1855 was called murder. What had been done to her, every night for 5 years, had no name in Missouri law at all. This is the true story about the night Celia said no. Robert Newsom was 60 years old in 1850, a prosperous farmer in Callaway County, Missouri. He had land, livestock, and 5 children, several of them grown. His wife had recently died. And so, in the way that slaveholding men of his era sometimes solve such problems, he went to a slave market and purchased a 14-year-old girl. Her name was Celia. No last name recorded, no birthday, no history before the moment of purchase. The bill of sale described her as a Negro girl. The price was approximately $1,000, which in today's money would be somewhere around $35,000. She was listed as a domestic purchase, acquired for household work. Robert Newsom raped her on the journey home. This was not an aberration. It was the beginning of a pattern that would continue for 5 years, documented not through Celia's own words, but through court testimony and the biological evidence it produced. Celia gave birth to 2 of Newsom's children during her time on his farm. She was housed in a small brick cabin, separate from the main house. A detail that matters because it tells you something about the architecture of the arrangement. Close enough for access, separate enough for deniability. By 1855, Celia was 19 years old and pregnant with a 3rd child. She had also, at some point, formed a relationship with another enslaved man on the farm named George. George, to his lasting shame, issued Celia an ultimatum. He would not continue their relationship, he told her, unless she stopped letting Newsom come to her cabin. As if she had been choosing it, Celia did something remarkable. She went to Newsom's daughter, Virginia, and told her what had been happening. She begged Virginia to intervene, to speak to her father, to make him stop. There is no record of what Virginia said in response. What is recorded is that Newsom came to Celia's cabin again shortly after. The night of June 23, 1855, Newsom entered the cabin. Celia warned him. Accounts from the trial suggest she told him she would hurt him if he didn't leave. He did not leave. Celia picked up a large stick she had placed near the fireplace and struck him. He fell. She struck him again. Robert Newsom died on the floor of the cabin he had built to make his access to her more convenient. What Celia did next speaks to the particular terror of her situation. She burned his body in the fireplace. It took most of the night. She crushed the remaining bones and scattered the ashes. She asked Newsom's young grandson, who came to check on things, to carry away some of the ashes without telling him what they were. She almost got away with it. Almost. When Newsom was reported missing, suspicion eventually fell on the cabin. Investigators found bone fragments in the fireplace. Celia was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. She was pregnant, she was 19, and she was about to face a legal system that had been constructed with remarkable precision to make what happened to her completely legal. Her lawyers, 2 young men named John Jameson and Isaac Boulware, who took her case pro bono, attempted something that had almost never been tried. They argued that Celia had the legal right to defend herself. They tried to apply Missouri's statute protecting women from sexual assault to their client. The argument was simple and devastating. If the law says a woman has the right to use deadly force to protect herself from rape, why should that right not apply to Celia? The judge refused to include that instruction to the jury. His reasoning, rooted in the legal framework of slavery, was that the statute protecting women from rape applied to women. Enslaved people were property. Property could not be raped. Therefore, Celia had no right to defend herself from something the law did not recognize as a crime against her. The jury deliberated for a short time. They found her guilty. Her baby was delivered stillborn while she awaited sentencing. She attempted to escape once before her execution, possibly aided by someone whose identity was never established. On December 21, 1855, Celia was hanged in Callaway County, Missouri. She was 19 years old. Her case was buried in court records for over a century. It was unearthed primarily through the work of historian Melton McLaurin, whose 1991 book brought Celia's story to a wider audience for the first time. For 136 years, she had no monument, no marker, no record that most people ever saw. Robert Newsom has a grave. It is still there in Callaway County. Celia's trial did not fail because of a corrupt judge or a biased jury alone. It failed because the entire legal architecture of the antebellum South had been deliberately constructed to make her suffering invisible and her resistance criminal. Her case is a precise illustration of how law can be used not to deliver justice, but to define who deserves it. That question of who the law was written for and who it was written against did not disappear in 1865. It just got quieter. He swam beneath Nazi flags at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. A few years later, the same regime that cheered him sent him to Auschwitz. He survived, his family did not, and then he got back in the pool. Next time, the story of Alfred Nakache, who swam for his life in Auschwitz.